my V S Mahesh Memorial Lecture I have given yesterday at the School of Inspired Leadership, Delhi. First of all, I like to thank Anil Sachdev and team for having invited me to be there at the Soil School. Unfortunately, I could not say all that I wanted to say, but I thought let me summarize some of the main points that I have said during this talk at SOI. I began the talk by talking about MOT, moments of truth, which I think even Mahesh talks about and all service sector people talk about. Moment of truth is the point of excitement that you get for the kind of services an organization delivers to you. It starts with a very interesting incident narrated by a Scandinavian Airlines person, a traveler who was traveling there, after having reached the airport, he discovers that he has forgotten some of the valuables and a ticket or something like that from his hotel, which is far away from it. And he has no time to go back and get all of these. And the airline staff take upon themselves the responsibility. They call up the hotel and make sure that the whole ticket is delivered on time to enable the passenger to board the aircraft. I have been also told of very similar incidents by some of the Indians who travel to Malaysia, and very similar kind of an experience, that you forget your ticket or your mobile or your purse or anything like that in the hotel, and you discover it only after reaching the airport. And then the airline staff takes responsibility in terms of calling up the hotel and making sure that you get your stuff even before you board. The airlines people don't say that this is not my task, etc. On the other hand, they say, don't worry, sir. I think at that point of time, when you receive this kind of a service from the airline staff, you really feel delighted, and that is what is called as the moment of truth. And that is the way I think organizations build the brand loyalty, organizational loyalty, and work for customer delight. Mahesh in his articles talks about MOT. I introduced in my lecture a very similar point, which I called as POT, that is the point of time. It can also be called as PIL, point in life. Point in life or point of time means a small part, small event that has happened in your life that has changed your life. I have illustrated this in my book on effective people, where I talked about a friend of mine, a co-student at the Regional College of Education, Mysore, when we were studying there in the year 1965, went onto the board and drew a straight line, A, B, straight line from A to B. And after that he marked somewhere in the middle a point, C, and he asked me, V Rao, tell me how many parts this line is divided into. Now I, in my usual way, I am sure any one of you will respond, it's a very obvious answer. It is divided into two parts, AC part 1 and CB part 2. He said, wrong. You are wrong, because you are only partially right. It is divided into AC and CB, but C itself is a part by itself. So it is AC, C and CB. He said, what do you mean by that? He says, it is like this, that an event occurs in your life. It may be just a small part in your life, but that event makes a lot of difference in your life. And that's why I say our life is filled with dots and dots and dots, or points in our life. Now, one of the points in my life was when I met Anil Sachdev, when we were doing a program on creativity. It's a creativity workshop both Pradeep Khandwala and I were doing on behalf of IM at Mahabaleshwar, and Anil happened to be one of the participants from Telco. We had many other participants, with some of whom I even today maintain good kind of relationships. So what this particular point has done, it has put me in touch with Anil, and we kept in touch with each other, and I will mention a few more significant points in our life. Few years later, Anil introduced me to V S Mahesh, and Mahesh and Anil together invited me for a workshop in one of the Taj hotels at Goa. This workshop is a workshop on open space design. I think 3 days we were together. We learned a lot from each other and experienced what is open space and things like that. That was my first detailed interaction with V S Mahesh, and that is the place where I also happened to meet a number of other people. Subsequently, my association with V S Mahesh goes to my inviting both Anil Sachdev and V S Mahesh for conducting a mission vision workshop. Of course, prior to that, Anil was also Delhi chapter of National HRD Network president. He worked for some time. He gave it a bit of a push and things like that. But this is much more significant to me because this was this one-day workshop in which the top 30 people of HRD Network, including M.R.R. Nair, Uday Parikh, Arvind Agarwal, and a whole lot of us participated to design the future of National HRD Network. So in this particular mission workshop, by the end of the day, we came up with a kind of a future program for National HRD Network, which includes, I think, professionalizing HR education and so on, but most importantly, setting up a center to promote HR education in the country. And that is how the Academy of HRD was born. So this is another significant point of my association with Anil and V S Mahesh. And another point that came up later was when we requested Mahesh to be the president of the National HRD Network, and he was there for about 6 months. Mahesh could do it only for about 6 months, and after that he happened to go to UK and so on. The reason why I mentioned